As an operator of a search agency, I know you have an opinion as to how you believe the paid search agencies should bill their clients, and I wonder if you'd elaborate.
Sure. If you get to a point where your media spend in search is $20,000 a month, $40,000 a month, $80,000 a month, there's enough efficiencies to be gained that you might think about having dedicated resources in-house or a dedicated agency working on it. And we think that some people in our industry charge a percentage of the resulting sales, acting like an affiliate. Some people charge a percentage of the media spend, acting like a traditional ad agency. We think that the agency's fees should be somewhat fixed. There should be a variable component, but we think capping the fee so it doesn't scale without bound makes sense, almost as if you had in-house staff working on it. The variability of the traffic month to month, say at the holiday, your spend could double, but the agency might not be doing more. So you really need to, when you look at your economics and you figure out what you're paying to Google, what you're paying to Yahoo, the agency fees are just friction. They're additional cost, and they need to be generating many times their cost and incremental value to justify themselves. You can run these campaigns yourself using the Google and Yahoo tools quite effectively. So at scale, there's really benefit to bringing in professionals, but at the lower end, think carefully and see if you're really getting the return to justify that additional cost. Mm-hmm. Or convenience. Maybe it's just you don't have the resources either way.
Okay. Now you mentioned in passing content ads on.
Oh yeah, hate them.
And, okay. Why don't you explain in case anyone's not familiar?
Sure.
And some of the search engines actually default to that when you sign up with it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So when you type something into a search box, like on Google, I'd call that the search network. And sometimes the search box isn't on Google; it might be on a trusted partner like AOL. And what happened is Google couldn't get enough inventory. I mean, there's only a finite number of searches that people make, and the growth of that is really internet adoption, broadband availability, and so forth. So to increase their inventory, they began running ads on publisher pages. So there'll be a page, a blog, say, about dog food, and an ad from a pet company might show up saying you can buy dog food. And there are two weaknesses. And then should someone reading that article click on the ad, Google will charge the advertiser, keep some of the fee, and pass some back to the publisher. So there's two weaknesses with that. One, as you know from your direct mail days, that action lists work much better than demographic lists. So just because someone's reading about dog food, that's much more passive than someone raising their hand. It's not as predictive. Someone who does a search on dog food is really close to either buying or researching dog food. Mm-hmm. So fundamentally, from a marketing psychodemographic view, it's weaker. But the other thing that's important, hope I'm not going too long, is that that small payment to the actual publisher where Google throws back a couple cents, there's a big incentive to cheat. And this is where click fraud comes in. And there's huge amounts of web pages. Some people would say more than half the pages on the World Wide Web exist solely to pull money out of Google and these kind of content networks. It's called MFA, Made for AdSense, or you'll end up on a funny web page that just looks like ads and gibberish and so forth. And so since the content networks convert at a much lower rate just because it's less targeted and because that's where we believe 95% of the click fraud lives, direct marketers find that the performance is pretty much crap there. You can turn it off and you'll see big cost savings and your sales probably won't even move at all. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Okay, good. Now what about, I understand some of the search engines are testing pay per action or pay per order, and they're sort of bypassing the click and going directly into measuring the results. What's happening there, and what do you see happening in the next 3 years or so?
Well, I think it's a great approach. Some retailers are loath to give the engines their conversion data. They don't want to do a pay-per-action model because they're afraid that Google will know their economics and then gouge them, or Yahoo and so forth. Currently, the cost per action for Google is on the CPM content side. It's not yet on core search. I think what we'll see is a move towards Google monetizing their clickstream on a CPM basis and a CPC basis and a CPA basis. And I believe the algorithm in real time will say which is the most profitable for Google. So you might have a term like a football term or a Pepsi or a Coke term that would be attractive for a brand advertiser. And they might just say, I want to buy that on a CPM basis, and I'll pay a lot during Super Bowl week to get a Coke ad or a beer ad in front of people. And they may push aside other folks that are advertising that week. So I think what we'll see is a kind of a diverse ecosystem of people buying the clicks in several different ways. As the big brands move into the space, I think it's going to become tougher for the direct marketers. And so I think we're in a nice window for the last few years, the next few years, where there's opportunity for smaller advertisers without Madison Ave kind of budgets to still be in these spaces. We see in some places when the big agencies show up with big budgets, they're just putting down the bills in a branding sense, and it's hard for a direct marketer to keep up.
Yeah. Well, Alan, I thank you very much. You've been a great source of information. Appreciate you taking the time.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Mark. Thanks so much.